The first part of this series opens with a scene of a hill behind the leisure village. There we see a lone, tired man with a circular tattoo on his chest, whom we find doing something not yet disclosed to us. He identifies himself as Tian Ming, 16 years old. He begins monologuing that his work is over at last, but we see he is tired and broken. He sighs that he can never run from his destiny and decides to give up. We find he is not talking to himself but to his dead father, as he was sitting beside the grave of his father, which has a tombstone inscribed with his name. We can only assume the work he was talking about has something to do with his father's last rites. Tian Ming has more to tell his late father. There is a curse haunting his family, but no one knows how it started or why it happens. They only know that it affects the generations of his family and that whoever is inflicted with the curse has no more than 10 years left to live. The death from the curse is not an easy one too. The blood of the victim begins drying, and as one gets closer to death, the pain becomes excruciating. Many of his predecessors have lost their lives this way. As a testament to his statement, we are shown the people he was talking about buried together, making the mountain the graveyard of his family. As Tian Ming takes out his dagger, he says that he has only one day left before he reaches the 10-year mark. In other words, tomorrow is the day he will die. He does not want to die such an unbearable death. He thinks suicide is a better, more peaceful alternative. But he has one regret. He is going to die a virgin. All his ancestors had a wife, and yet he is going to die without protecting his bloodline. He imagines how life would be if he had a girlfriend or a wife. His fantasies start taking an erotic turn as he imagines some girls and his friend named Yao Shu, and that they want him too. And thus, he makes his dying wish, but he is interrupted before he can complete it. A lightning bolt strikes just a few feet away from where he is sitting. He is taken aback due to the suddenness and the intensity of the blast it causes. Even his father's gravestone topples down. He seeks cover behind a gravestone because weird voices come from the point lightning struck. Then we are shown what really is at the center of the explosion. We see a beautiful girl lying on the ground. Her whole body is covered with current and she looks like she is in pain. Tian Ming carefully watches her and wonders if she is a cultivator. Then a voice comes from the mountaintop, shocking the girl. A man speaks, "Lu Ming, if you are there, come out. Otherwise, the results will not be good." On hearing this, the girl hides behind a boulder. We see the voices of a noble-looking man who is flying on a sword. He declares that if she does not come out, he will come to get her. We can see that the girl is terrified of him. He says that it is no use resisting, as the more Lu Ming resists, the worse she makes things for herself. He acts like a douche and says that he will take good care of her body. She is disgusted but does not move. On receiving no response, the man thinks that maybe the girl is not really there. She is very fast, and if he stays here too long she might get too far away from him. So he rushes off to a mountain and distance with an unbelievable speed. Then we are shown that the girl slowly moves to the edge of the rock she is hiding beyond to check if her pursuer is still there. At the same time, Tian Ming is sweating because everything that has happened recently was beyond his understanding. Then suddenly the girl comes and places her hand on the stone he is hiding behind, saying that it smells like a man is here. Our protagonist is terrified and asks the girl who she really is. But she does not reply and pounces upon him, clearly excited. She tells him that he does not need to worry about anything and that she will take care of everything. She tries to seduce him and begins touching him in weird places. Tian Ming has no clue how to react because this situation was new to a virgin like him. But before anything else can happen, she suddenly comes to her senses. She is shocked by the situation she is in and thinks that the man was trying to make a move on her. She slaps him hard, leaving him teary-eyed. She quickly moves away and takes rest against a rock. We see her trying to regain her composure, but the next moment she takes hold of Tian Ming's hand, almost as if she is possessed by something. She takes his hand close to her chest and urges him to touch her. He has no idea what is happening and is flabbergasted. But just as he is about to touch her, she regains her senses once again and Tian Ming gets one more tight slap. She blames him for trying to take advantage of her weakened situation. Tian Ming is perplexed and frustrated, and he yells that if she wants to kill him she should do it right away. He shouts what is the point of acting all into him and then slapping him, and that anyway he has come here to die. The girl does not reply but pounces on him yet again. We find that she went in for a kiss and succeeded. Then a lot of passionate noises start coming while the scene changes to not show us what is happening. We can all assume that Tian Ming got lucky. But then the scene cuts to complete silence and we find him sleeping on the ground. He is muttering in his sleep, "Please stop." Then he springs up and says, "I mean, don't stop, let us continue having fun." He looks around to find that he is alone and there is no trace of the girl. His first thought is that it all must have been a dream. After all, it was impossible for him to get lucky in that manner with a complete stranger. As his gaze is wandering, it comes to rest upon his chest. He finds that the tattoo on his chest, or rather the curse mark, has vanished. He cannot believe it and runs towards the village elated and excited. He wonders what must have happened to erase his curse. And then there was the wonderful dream he had about sleeping with a woman. So, all is as good as it can be. He thinks that it was indeed a wonderful night. But he stops when he hears a lot of noises coming from the direction of his village. He goes to a cliff to see what is happening. He finds that the village still has lights on, despite it being too late at night. He is wondering about the reason as he sees more keenly and finds that the village is under attack. Horse thieves have raided his village and the villagers are crying for help and mercy. The horse thieves say loudly to each other to kill everyone. Tian Ming is terrified of the horse thieves as he makes his way to his village. The scene cuts to his village and we find a picture of carnage and plundering. The thieves are brutally killing everyone and Tian Ming can just hide behind a tree and watch it happen. Then suddenly he hears a woman's cry for help. We see a menacing man holding a young woman's hand. The beautiful woman is identified as Yao Shui, the one friend Tian Ming dreamt of earlier. He is worried when he sees her in danger. The gang of thieves surrounds the girl and tells her that they just want to have fun with her. They say that if she comes with them, all of them will have fun and then they will leave her. Tian Ming can't bear to see his dear friend being abducted and violated by robbers. He is angry and thinks about how he wants to kill those evil men. He takes out his dagger but his hands are trembling. This shows that even though he wants to save her, he is afraid himself. He gets up but does not take any action. He begins telling himself to calm down. He cannot do anything against so many dangerous thieves and even if he tries he will just die. There is only one option he is left with, that is running away. He was already supposed to die today but by some miracle, his life was spared. He tells himself that he should abandon everyone here and try to live this second chance to his fullest. He silently begins making his exit while we see the menacing thieves talk in the background. They are talking about taking turns violating the girl. The thief who has caught Yao Shui throws her towards the ground and starts approaching her. As he undresses, the terrified girl screams. The thief gives her a scary look and says that she doesn't need to worry. He will make sure that she enjoys it too. She begins crying and shouting for help. Her cries are heard and we see Tian Ming jump from behind the thief with his dagger aimed at his neck. But the thief is alert and stops his attack midway but only as the dagger pierces his palm. Tian Ming thinks to himself that he blew up the one chance of a clean strike and believes this is the end for him. The thief throws him away with great force and he hits the ground with a loud thud. The thief begins abusing him and says how dare he try to attack him. Our protagonist shouts to Yao Shui to run away from the place while he still has their attention. She is worried about him but he says that she does not have any time for that right now. But he is unaware of the fact that she is right in worrying about him. She sees something behind Tian Ming and tries to alert him but fails to do it in time. Another thief suddenly comes behind him and pierces his chest with his sword, even as Tian Ming is dying. The thief insults him, calling him a kid and saying that he should have stayed out of dangerous business. He further says that rabbits should stay hidden in their holes lest they be hunted. The thief who had just attacked Tian Ming asks his companion, named Lao Yong, who was injured by the dagger, if he was all right. He replies that he is fine and that it was a good job to kill the nuisance. Lao Yong pulls Yao Shui by her hair and mocks her that she really thought that she could get away with that stunt. He shoves her to the ground and begins forcing himself on her. He says that if her friend or boyfriend, whoever he was, hadn't interfered he would still be alive. And maybe then he would have been gentle on her too. Tian Ming is still not dead and tries to crawl towards his friend while crying. He regrets that even in his last moments he could not do anything for her. Yao Shui begins crying and shouts for help, still calling Tian Ming's name even as she knew he was moments away from death. Tian Ming's eyes begin to shut down. He is filled with regret and tries to hold on to whatever life he has remaining. He had thought that he had escaped his destiny of dying on this day, but it seems everything that happened couldn't change his fate. Then we are shown that someone else is speaking. There is someone who had been waiting a long time for this. Tian Ming opens his eyes slowly and finds he is not in his village but in some strange place. Neither is he in human form anymore. His body looks like a ghost or apparition and is floating above the ground. Tian Ming wonders what this place is as he has never seen it. We see a large gate that is slowly opening. There is the same design on the gate like the curse mark on Tian Ming's chest. He decides that he has no other option but to go through the gate even if he knows nothing about what is beyond there. While this is happening, the eyes of his real body suddenly open up and they are red with anger. He jerks up to a standing position and feels power coursing through his body. We see the scene where the thief is trying to force Yao Shui to open her legs while she is resisting. Tian Ming is standing where he lay dead a few moments ago and he looks strange. A thief notices it and tells his buddy Lao Yong to look behind him. A lightning bolt strikes where Tian Ming lay. The thief Lao Yong turns his head to look back, but even before he can do it we see Tian Ming suddenly flashes along his side and places his hand on the thief's face. At that speed the slap is sure to cause fatal damage to the thief. This can be seen in the reaction of the others who stand terrified of what just happened. They are all concerned about Lao Yong but no one dares to approach him because Tian Ming looks weird and scary, almost as if he was possessed. We then see the actual Tian Ming or his soul running through a cave. He comes face to face with a giant and powerful looking dragon who is tied in chains. He welcomes Tian Ming, calling him the son of Yi. He was the one who had been waiting to meet him for a long time and today was the day he was finally able to. Our protagonist loses his grip on his senses and starts running away. He looks ridiculous and loudly pleads to the dragon to not eat him. The dragon takes this as an insult. He says that he is a black dragon, not a soul reaper who eats souls. Then the dragon says that you are not dead yet, but you are not alive either. This surprises Tian Ming and is enough to stop him in his tracks. He looks back with surprise at the dragon, who tells him that his arrival in this place is a rare opportunity that can happen only once in a century. Then we are taken back to the village scene where Tian Ming looks like a madman. He is grinning uncontrollably and asks the thieves if they know what death is like. Some thieves gather around him, taunt him, and try to jump him. They attack from all directions with the intent to kill, but Tian Ming is too fast for them to handle and evades their attack by jumping up. The thieves look up with surprise and find him coming right at them with a crazy smile. He lands, and that causes the ground around his feet to shatter. He displays martial arts and takes down all the men who attacked him without any difficulty. This riles up the rest of the thieves, and they shout that they will kill him as they run towards him. In response to their numbers, Tian Ming directs a powerful punch towards the ground. It causes powerful sound waves that knock away the attackers. Yao Shui is more surprised by this than anyone else. A thief who is still standing because he didn't try to attack asks how is this possible. He asks Tian Ming who is he and how could he wipe out their entire gang so effortlessly. The thief pulls Yao Shui up and tells her to quietly get up. She cries and pleads to let her go even as the thief takes her hostage and declares his defeat. He tries to bargain with Tian Ming that if he lets him go, he will let the girl he wants to save go too. But just as he completes this sentence, he finds the ominous Tian Ming in front of him, who cuts off his sword-holding hand. The man screams out in pain. He tries to move back, but Tian Ming catches him and asks him again if he knew what death was like. He grabs the face of the thief, who begs for his life. But this version of Tian Ming is very dangerous. We are shown the silhouette of the scene in which he crushes the thief's head with his bare hands. Yao Shui, who is already traumatized, is even more scared of what she sees. Tian Ming looks even more crazy and menacing as he laughs. Then we are taken back to the place where his soul is interacting with the dragon. He asks the black dragon what he meant by once-in-a-century opportunity. The dragon says that it is all irrelevant right now, but he will ask him a question. Tian Ming does not understand anything and tries to get the dragon to explain more, but the dragon moves on to his question. He asks Tian Ming if he would like to live in a harem world. Upon hearing the word harem, the man begins imagining girls and impossible situations. He fails to comprehend what the dragon intends and cannot give any answer. The dragon asks if he did not hear his question or if he failed to understand it. Tian Ming is flustered and asks the dragon if anything he says makes any sense at all. The dragon calls him a hypocrite and tells that since he has already done it once, he doesn't need to be so reserved. This flusters him even further, and he accuses the dragon of slandering his name. Then suddenly the sky and the ground begin moving towards each other, much to Tian Ming's shock. The dragon states that not much time is left now and that Tian Ming should silently do as he says. Tian Ming does not understand anything and wants to postpone the talking after the sky and the ground stop moving. But the dragon brings his claw near his head and touches it. His nail is bigger than Tian Ming's head. He begins telling him the real story behind the curse. Many years ago, someone from his family angered a powerful cultivator. That cultivator cast a curse on his family, and everyone since has been affected by it. But since Tian Ming managed to establish contact with him, the black dragon, it meant that he had discovered the key to breaking the curse. The dragon says that he can show him the way to break it completely. The black dragon tells him that he has to start practicing cultivation and he should do it with a girl. And he also urges him to have a lot of sex. The dragon begins making his way into Tian Ming's body through a mark on his forehead, causing him to lose consciousness. He says that the curse mark may have dissipated, but it would appear again very soon. He tells Tian Ming that he cannot live long without utilizing the powers he is about to give him. And the correct way to do so is by having a relationship with a lot of girls. He says that he needs to have a harem and keep expanding it till he became a harem king and reaches the top of the cultivation world. Then we see Tian Ming waking up in a bed. He shouts at the dragon to clearly explain whatever he has been saying. But then he notices that he is completely alone. He holds his head and begins wondering what has been happening to him in the last few days. He was not able to make any sense of it. His hand lands on a letter by his bedside, which he opens and begins reading. It was addressed to him, and he immediately recognizes that it was Yao Shui's handwriting. As he reads the letter, the curse mark on his chest begins to fade away again. It says that when he will read the letter, she and the other villagers will have gone far away. She tells him that he defeated all the bandits and saved her and the other villagers. But as soon as he was done, he lost consciousness and went into a coma. She writes that she could not carry him and also did not know what was the right thing to do. So, she brought him to her home. Everyone alive owed their lives to him, but since he killed all the thieves, the villagers were afraid that more of them would come seeking revenge. We see her writing the letter and trying to convince the villagers. But she fails and has to abandon him. She writes that he should take care of himself, and with that she signs off. Tian Ming decides to go outside and is horrified at the scene in front of his eyes. Dead bodies are lying everywhere. He sees that all of them are dead thieves and wonders if he really did that. Then suddenly something begins happening, and we can see a reflection in his eyes. He sees boards above the dead bodies that say corpse. He cannot make head or tail of this, but soon a display system appears in front of him showing information about himself. It mentions that he is cursed and mentions that he is a beginner cultivator at the first level of the Kai realm. He has only one skill named appraisal, and he doesn't even know what it means. He is able to connect a few dots and realizes that the dragon really made him a cultivator. Then he sees another screen which has everything written in red. It gives him a task to avoid the death countdown. He has to perform dual cultivation within 60 days. He looks at it like an idiot who does not understand what it means. Then the screen changes and a different task is shown. It is a beginner task to defeat the blood wolf that has been attracted by the large number of corpses in the village. Tian Ming is flustered again and complains about why can't anyone explain things in a way normal people will understand. He asks where is the blood wolf, and just as he says it, he regrets it. His question is answered by the howl of a big black wolf on a cliff. Tian Ming looks at it and it scares him witless. Now he has to fight this wolf to complete his first task. Will he be able to do it? What will be the challenges and what will be the rewards? We can only find out when we see the second part.